Welcome, everyone. This is EBM Ernest Boniface Makulilo, and today I'm welcoming you to my YouTube channel, and I have a very interesting topic to talk with you. The topic I'm going to talk today is about the second notification letter for the diversity visa lottery. Once you get this notification, you'll be ready to be called for the interview. There are so many questions people have been asking about this type of preparations and everything. So today I'm going to explain and capture all these kind of questions and what to expect. The first thing, which is the good news we know for sure, is people have started receiving what we call the second notification letters. When we talk about second notification, people usually put into the abbreviation, and we say 2NL. So what is 2NL? That means if it's 2NL, that means there is first NL. So the 2NL or NL stands for notification letter. So that is, you need to know that when we say NL, we mean notification letter. That is number one thing you needed to know. So if that is the notification letter is NL, so the first notification letter is the one which you get when you go to check your DV lottery results and you are told that you have been randomly selected, you are the DV lottery winner. So that is the meaning of first notification letter. So the first notification letter is the letter you receive when you apply for the DV lottery and you check the results and you have won. That is the first notification letter. Then the second notification letter is the letter people have been waiting right now. The letter which is the one you are going to get the scheduled interview date. That is the second notification. In 1 second. I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm sure I'm back. My computer, one code had some technical problem. So I believe if I'm back online. So let me know if you can be able to hear me and check me. Please just let me know here on the questions. Okay. I believe you can be able to check to hear me. So that is the I was talking about the notification letters. So those are the letters which you needed to make sure that you get them. So there are various questions you needed to know that after getting the notification letter. Yes, now everybody says you can hear me. So once you get the notification letter that you have been scheduled for the interview. So this year is a little bit different. Why this year is a little bit different? It's a little bit different because the interviews were not conducted since October as the first start of the fiscal year. So if the interview didn't happen on the first fiscal year, it means from October, November, December, January, February, now we are in the month of March, no one hasn't been interviewed. So 5.5 months, almost going to 6 months, no interviews. So for that particular case, the people, when they receive second notification letter, the interviews you are going to not be getting what we call the longer time of to prepare. Usually in a normal time, you get the second notification letter. At that particular time, you have at least 6 weeks to prepare for the interview. But because we have already lost over 6 months of the interviews for the fiscal year 2021, what we are expecting will be people to be able to get the second notification and have a very short window to go to the interview. Maybe possible will be 2 weeks and sometimes up to 3 weeks. So it will be a very short window. So for that particular situation, I want people to make sure that once you get the notification letter, you have to be ready. So because when they give you the second notification letter, there are steps you have to do. You have to do the medical. And the medical is expensive. It's about 500, 450 to be exactly. So if that is the amount you're supposed to pay, let's say you are married. So those are 2 people. You have 3 kids, 5 people. That is a lot of money. So that's why you need to start to make sure that if your case number is a small case number, get ready to start preparing yourself. Just start preparing yourself for the money wise, for the medical and for the interview date, because you might end up having 2 or 3 weeks or 4 weeks to go to the interview from the day you receive the second notification letter. So for that particular case, you need to be ready financially. Once you get the letter, you have the money to do the medical, you have the money for the interview. And the money for the interview, remember, I usually tell people, even if a person is 1 day old, you have to be ready. You have to pay for the visa fee. Visa fee doesn't care the age of the child. Each and everyone will be doing the same thing. So that is number 1. I want to make sure that you know after the second notification what happens on that particular situation. Then you need to prepare your documents. There is a video I explain in detail about the documentations, what types of documents you need to have, so that you can be ready once you are told, okay, now go to the interview. What documents do you need to have? We talked about there are documents required by KCC, and there are documents required during the visa interview. The documents which are required by KCC, those documents, some of those documents are the one you use for the interview, but there are additional documentation. KCC is not determining whether you are eligible to be given the visas or not. KCC requires documents like birth certificate, passport, if you are married, marriage certificate, police clearance record, those kind of documents. KCC, Kentucky Consular Service, Consular Center, doesn't go and look to determine whether you are eligible to be given the visa. KCC doesn't look into your work experience or your job or your education to determine if you are eligible. That is not the job of KCC. That's why you don't need to submit the document of your transcripts or work experience to KCC. Those documents, you'll go with them during the visa interview on the day of your interview. That's something you need to know. Then in addition to that, KCC doesn't care whether the day you applied, you put maybe you are single, you don't have any child, but technically you have children, and you fill the DS 260. KCC's, their job is not to determine that. That is the job of the US Embassy. Because I remember last year there is someone was upset, posted that why KCC, they asked for the documents and they scheduled for the interview because the husband applied as a single because he didn't have the photo, and showed up at the interview with the picture with the wife and everything, is who denied the visa. So those are the few things people need to understand, that there are certain things which are the job of KCC, there are certain things are not the jobs of KCC. So distinguish the two. So there are documents which you will be required to appear with them at the visa interview, which those documents are not required by KCC. So from that particular moment, we can go now to the what is happening when you appear at the visa to the consular officer. What happens on that particular day? That is very, very critical. So I've created the list of questions. These type of questions, I want to make sure that we are going to answer these questions and make it easier for you also to understand these questions and how these questions will be able to help you or to guide you in one way or another. So let me try to answer these type of questions people have been asking me, and I'm going to answer those type of questions. Some of these questions are as follows. Question number 1 is, what happens on the day you appear at the consular officer? What happens on that day? The first thing they're going to determine is to see if you, who is appearing at the US Embassy at the consular section area, you are the one who won the DV lottery. Because maybe it's your relative and then you took the document and come up to the US Embassy. So in order to do that, the US Embassy went ahead and created what they call the visa, the passport requirement. The passport requirement is the one which you used to apply during the DV lottery interview. During the DV lottery application. When you applied during the DV lottery application, there was one thing. On the DV lottery application, you were told to put the passport. So they will match the passport you used on the day of the interview and the passport which is required on the you've used to fill the DS260. So there are a few things here I want to explain so that you can understand whether you'll be denied the visa or not, just from this one. If your passport has expired, the one you use it to apply for the DV lottery, you need to go with the expired passport and the new passport. If you use the temporary passport, you need to use the temporary passport. You need to come with that paper passport and the actual passport you fill in the DS260. If you shop with the brand new passport, you fill in the DS260, and that passport was not used during the application for the DV lottery, that means it doesn't match. You are not the one. So you needed to have, if passport was lost, any document to prove that way. So there are some people who tried to apply for the DV lottery and said they don't have what we call the passport. They ask for the waiver. They apply as exemption. I usually tell people, please, please, please don't apply for the diversity visa lottery if you don't have the passport, because you are wasting your time, because you will win, you will be denied the visa. I guarantee you 100%. There are only 3 exceptions where you are allowed to apply without a passport. Out of that, you don't meet the exemption qualification. So if you go ahead and apply for the DV lottery under exemption and you don't meet the exemption, at the US Embassy they will ask you, you apply without a passport. And the exemption are 3. Number one exemption is, are you a stateless person? Remember, being a refugee doesn't mean that you are stateless. There are very few categories of refugees who meet the status of being stateless. Stateless is a person who doesn't belong or doesn't have any citizenship on this planet Earth. If you are Burundi refugee, you are in Kigoma, Tanzania, you are still a Burundi citizen. You belong, you have a state. That doesn't mean you are not stateless. So I want to give that distinction. So refugees not necessarily to be the what? All refugees are not necessarily to be to become what they call the stateless. The second exemption is for those people who are applying and are belonging or are coming from the countries which are communist controlled countries. If your country is a communist country, basically they say it is difficult to get a passport. So if you are from Kenya, you are from Somalia, you are from Ethiopia, you are from Ghana, you are from Tanzania, you are from Angola, you are from Philippines, you are from China. I mean, wherever China, if it is communist, you can have that justification. But I'm giving you an example. If you're coming from a non-controlled communist country, you don't meet that requirement. You must be coming from a communist country. And the third exemption, you must have a letter of exemption from the Secretary of State or the Secretary of Homeland Security. Not the Secretary of State of your country, not the Secretary of Homeland Security of your country. you must get the Secretary of State of the United States of America. So you have to write it to current Secretary of State to request for the waiver that they want to apply for the DV lottery and they don't have the passport. I don't know if that's even they can just, that is important for them to give you that exemption. So those are the only three things. If you go there to the US Embassy, they can allow you to continue the next process if you applied without a passport. Out of that, you must have a passport. If you don't have those three exemptions, if you're from Tanzania, there is no any way. You're from Ghana, you're from Kenya, you're from Ethiopia, there is no any way you meet any of those exemptions. No. So, for that particular case, if you have won, just the process, just maybe you might find a good person and say, okay, you didn't understand maybe the requirement, but the requirement is very clear. You must use a passport. So the first step, you go to the consular officer, they are going to determine if your identity, you are the same person who applied for the diversity visa lottery, and you are the one who is the winner of the diversity visa lottery. The second thing which they are going to do at the US Embassy on the day you go for the visa interview, if you are the DV lottery winner, is, I said the first one, they are going to identify, they are going to find out the identification of you, that you are the one who won the DV visa lottery. The second important thing they will be able to do on that day is to go to determine or to relate the application for the DV lottery and the information you have filled in the DS-260. On this particular area, they are looking two items. They are looking, one, the nationality, and two, they are looking on the aspect of education and or work experience. The nationality is very simple. Unless otherwise, you are from Nigeria and you are African. If you are born in Nigeria, you are not allowed to apply if you're from Africa. There are countries are not allowed to apply because they have met a certain number of the certain number of immigrant visas in the past 5 years. So in the past 5 years, if any country reaches 50,000 winners or 50,000 immigrant visas, like visas through marriage, visas, green card visas through lottery, green card visas through the work experience. So if they have 50,000 the immigrant visas, that country in the past 5 years is going to be removed. So for Africa, it's only Nigeria. But because of the COVID, for this past year, we haven't seen many people going to get the immigrant visas. So that one will go to reduce the threshold of 5 years of how many people have got the visas. So we'll be able to see Nigeria coming back, maybe the year coming or 2 years to come, we do not know. So that is something else you need to know. But they are going to look nationality, which is easier if you are eligible to apply. But the second important thing, they are going to find out your work experience and education. I have a very full video, fully dedicated and explaining about work experience in detail. So, as I said, the Kentucky Consular Center, when they request the document, they don't request the document on the basis of, they don't request the document about education or work experience. Yes, they're going to ask the information about passport to show your identity, place of birth, and all other kind of things. But the work experience and the education is not going to be checked by KCC. So they're going to look what you feel in the DS-260. If you said you have PhD, they want to see your PhD. But obviously, sometimes you might say, I have bachelor degree. At the time of applying, maybe now you have masters. Some people, they maybe without knowing, they put in your wrong category. That's not a big deal. But in the end, when you go to the KCC, you go to the consular officer, then for the interview, you have to match certain information of nationality Don't say the day of applying you were Tanzanian, on the day of the DSC 260 you are saying if you are Ghanaian. It doesn't work that way. You cannot change nationality. It's only one place of birth. So that is very, very crucial. And many people are denied the visas on this aspect of not meeting education and or work experience. But even if you have PhD in the DSC 260, there is a place you have to put the education, your education, and you have to put work experience. Where have you been working? Yes, they say minimum is high school, but in another way, you have to put work experience too. And the work experience, it has to be 2 years of qualifying work experience in the past 5 years. So how are they going to determine? There is a full video. They are going to look what kind of job you did, the job you are doing. Did you get any training, formal or on job training? And of what magnitude did you use it to apply and to say that you are capable of working that work experience? You can say, I work at the restaurant, but it will depend. Did you get culinary school education? Did you go to customer service if you were a server? Did you go to any kind of that? Or if it's on job training, how long was the training? And was the restaurant a small mini restaurant of getting 100 people per day, or it is a 5-star hotel? So all those kind of things will be able to play. So that's why I say you need to have another document, like a small piece of paper, typed all your work experience. Yes, you must make sure that you put all those things in DSC 260, but go with updated resume, some sort of showing your name of the organization you worked, the duration from this day to this day, where the organization is, the contact information of your supervisor, if you go to the training, how long was the training, and the job description, just in case. So you need to have the in chronological order what current you are doing in work experience up to going below. And in that particular case, you'll be able to show that one, and they can be able to track. If they want to confirm, just in case, they can call your supervisor. And by work experience, it can be paid or unpaid work experience. So that is something many people are going to be denied, because you are 30 years old, you don't have high school education, but you do not know how to write work experience. So in the end, you look like you were just playing around. You need to find a way on how to put like in a very professional resume. That is another aspect you need to understand. The another aspect which they're going to do again at the consular is, once you submit all the documents, they are going again to confirm between your DV lottery application and the DSC 260. If on the DV lottery application you applied as married and you are coming with your spouse, show the documentation to prove that this is your spouse. That is very critical. If you applied as a single, there is no fiancé status, there is no engaged status. If you applied as single, now you are married, they will want to know, show the document, this is your spouse. And in addition to that, especially if you got married after they apply in the DV lottery, they wanted to know if the marriage is a genuine, a bona fide marriage, not basing on you because you have won, you want to give someone immigration status to come to America as a green card holder. That will be immigration fraud. If they don't care for whatever reason, let's say you have children, you have 3 kids, you have 2 kids, in the DV lottery application, you said you are single, you don't have a child, or you are married, you don't have a child, and the day you are showing up with the children, you are going to be denied the visa. Go on the Google search and write DV 2021 or DV 2022 lottery instructions. Go instruction number 14 and instruction number 15. One is about marital status, and another one is number of children. If you are saying you are not married and you shop with your wife and they prove that you got married even many years ago, you will be denied the visa. That is important. And if you show up at the embassy with a child who is not yours, you take a child of your brother, is not your biological child, is not a legally adopted child, is not a stepchild, you will not be given the visa. You will be denied the visa, because what is going to be determined is you are planning to bypass and overlook the system. Apart from that, there is another item which is very important on the interview part. We are talking about the medical, and there is the aspect of police clearance record. You will not be given the visa if you don't have a medical record. Once you are given the second notification, or the interview is this date, go to the US Embassy or call the US Embassy. They have a special physician who are working with the US Embassy in your country to be able to conduct a physical on you. Once they give that document, it will be the envelope with the results. You are told, don't open. Don't play smart. If you open, the embassy knows that you have opened, because the nature of envelope, no matter how you do, they'll know you have opened. Don't open that envelope for your future. Don't open. In that particular medical, they're not going to discriminate you if you have HIV. You are HIV positive. No, they don't really discriminate that. If you have high blood pressure, if you have diabetes, those are not a big deal, because there is nothing. But if, let's say, you have a tuberculosis, TB, if you have a tuberculosis, they will ask you to go and get a treatment before you are given the visa. Why? Because tuberculosis, TB, has already been eradicated here in the United States, and you don't give the vaccine for the kids for the tuberculosis. So they will never allow someone to be given a green card to come here while is a tuberculosis positive, because it can be a very big problem if you bring in America. So you'll be told to go and get a treatment before and then get whatever everything before you come, or you need to purchase insurance and to prove to them upon arriving the same week you are going to the hospital. There is a certain way. I know there is one person in Sierra Leone, I think, I used to communicate with him. Everything was going through, and his daughter had, I think, he was tested positive for the tuberculosis, so he had to take the process of the medical again after make sure that the child is treated. But unfortunately, then immigration suspension came, so I haven't communicated with him yet to see the status of him, whether he will be able to come. He was the DV 2020 winner. Then there is the issue of police clearance. So when you go to the US Embassy, they will ask you for police clearance. The document which you submitted at KCC, you'll be able to submit that one. There are nature of crimes which you cannot be allowed to come here. So that is not a problem, because the good thing, when police, they're giving you that police record, it is open. That's why you need to scan it and send it to KCC. So you know what is inside there. There is no surprise like in medical. So I know all of you who are processing this one, they don't have crime which will prevent them to come here in America. So those are the major things which you needed to have as documents or things to know or to prepare to submit at the embassy when you show up there. So after that, there is now the interview itself. The interview itself, which is very important. I know people want to know what exactly question do they ask you? What kind of question do they ask you? So here is what I'm coming to explain to you in detail to understand. Almost all of you who are now watching this video, all of you who have applied for the DV lottery visas, as long as you are not a green card holder, as long as you are not a citizen at this moment I'm talking, your experience of the DV lottery visas is only based for the people who are coming on what we call non-immigrant visas. Let me give it clear. There is a big difference between non-immigrant visas and immigrant visas. So the experience people are telling you about diversity visa lottery interviews is different from those who are going to the embassy under non-immigrant visas. If you ask someone have been denied the visa, 99.9% are the people who were applying for non-immigrant visas. So this one will be able to explain to you what type of questions are asked in the interview if you are the V lottery winner. These questions are going to ask you if you are the V lottery winner are different questions from people who have been denied or given the visas under non-immigrant visas. I think we are clear on this one. The non-immigrant visa is a temporary visa, a visa which you come to the United States to stay here on the temporary basis. That is a non-immigrant visa. By temporary basis is B1, B2 visa. You are coming here as a tourist. You are coming here on the business visa. That is a temporary visa. Whether you are coming here to stay for 1 week or you are coming to stay for 1 year, that is temporary. That means you are coming in America for a specified period of time, then you will be going back to your home country. You are coming here as an international student. Even if it will be 5 years visa as an international student coming to do PhD, still after 5 years, you will be going back to your home country. That is a non-immigrant visa. You are coming here as exchange visitor visa. That is a temporary visa. So if you go to apply those type of visas, non-immigrant visa, you are filling the form is called DS-160. DS-160 is a different form from the V lottery winners, which we call DS-260, which is immigrant visa application form. So on the visa of non-immigrant, which you are filling the DS-160, on the interview, because you are coming in America on the temporary basis, which is different from coming in America as immigrant. If you are coming as immigrant, meaning you are coming here to live on a permanent basis, you are coming here from day one, you are a permanent resident of the great nation on the planet Earth, United States of America. So if you are coming here on the permanent base, there are questions that they don't need to ask you. But because people, you know, they're telling you the experience of the US Embassy, you get scared that will I be given the visa? So even the people are talking on the internet about the question, most of those are not the real question of the DV lottery visas. Because non-immigrant visa, if you are planning to come as a student, if you are coming to apply as a visitor, exchange visitor visa, you are coming here under H1 work visa, you are coming here as a tourist, the question they will ask you, will you go back to your home country? Show me the evidence. What are the ties you have with your country? Will make you come back to Tanzania. So that's why you say, oh, I have a farm, I have this this kind of job, all this kind of crazy stuff as assets to say that I have enough ties, I have things which will bring me back to my home country. Those we call non-immigrant visa. So the consular officer will give you the visa upon being satisfied if you have strong ties with your country and you will prove that you'll be coming back to your home country after that specified temporary time you are supposed to live in America. So that is non-immigrant visa, is a temporary visa, a temporary that you are staying in America for a specified period of time, then you'll be coming to your home country. But if you have won the DV lottery, that means you are coming from day one to live in America permanently. So the consular will never ask you that question. Show me the ties with your country of Tanzania. Show me the ties of your country of Oman. Show me the ties of the country of Kenya. No, you don't need to show any ties. And they will never ask you a question. Will you come back to your home, to your country, Tanzania? No. They don't ask that question because they know you are processed to come to be a permanent of America. So if you are permanent of America, that's why when you leave America to go to any other country and you are going to stay there 6 months and up to a year, you have to notify America that I'm going in my country and I'll be out for 6 months to a year under the advance parole form. But in a normal way, in a very normal way, they don't ask you because you are coming here to stay here permanent. So they never ask you, show me the bank statement, who pays for your school, show me this document, you have a farm, show me that you have married, show me this one so that you can come back to your home country. They don't ask you those questions. So the questions which will be asked as a DV lottery winner, there will be very few questions. The questions, as I said, number one, they wanted to know is, are you the one who is the real winner? That one they will determine based on the document of your passport, which you use it to apply for the DV lottery, and the passport you have used it for DSC 260. They wanted to know if you are the one, when you said you have married, you have kids, and these are your real kids, is your real spouse, they need to prove that first. So they might ask a question on that to prove that that is a genuine marriage. And especially for those who are married, let's say after the results, there will be so many questions related to that. But if you're married 5 years, whatever, many years ago, you have kids, there will be no many questions on that to prove that this is your wife. But if you are married after the results, yes, there will be so many questions on that. Beyond just the marriage certificate, they want to see the picture. They want to see the picture of the reception on the wedding day. They want to see some other documentations to find out this is a bona fide marriage. So they might ask a question on that. Then they want to know, the questions might be your education. Oh, you say you have bachelor degree. So which university did you go in your own country? Oh, I went to the University of Dar es Salaam. So what program did you study? I studied this. When do you graduate? This one. What do you do now? Even if you have a degree, you meet that qualification for education, you need to have work experience. Oh, currently I'm just working as a volunteer with these panel organizations under this type of position. And remember, you have the option of using any language, by any the national language of your country. If you're from Tanzania or you're in Kenya, you can say, I prefer to use Swahili. If you're in the country where, for instance, Cameroon, they have French and English, you can say, I want to use French. So if you are in Egypt, you can say, I want to use Arabic or English. So don't force yourself, you must use English. Use the national language of your country if you want that they will have an interpreter. Don't go and answer the questions just by assuming what they mean. Answer the question in like, really, this is what is you. So they want, the question more will be about the question about education. They might ask a question, which school did you go? When did you graduate? They might ask the results, even if it's not, they're not going to deny you because of the results. They will ask you, what are you really doing right now? So on that one, you can have the document like a piece of paper, typed. Don't write with your handwriting, it might be a bad handwriting like mine. So you write down, where do you work, or where did you work, what type of experience you have, how long, name of supervisor, job description, all those kind of things are the things you need to put them there. Okay. So the other question I might ask you will be, so which address are you going to stay? Oh, which state are you going to stay in the US? They don't require any documentation from the address you're going to stay. For instance, when my nephew went to the interview, they asked, oh, so where are you going to stay? I said, I'm going to stay in Kansas. Just in case I gave the documentation apart from the address, like documentation prove that this is the apartment, but they don't ask that. They want just to know, okay, this is the correct address. That's all. So those are the few things that you need to understand. After that, maybe there is another question people might ask me. What if I had this address and then maybe I changed the place, instead of going to stay in New York, I got another host, another state, or my host has moved from one city to another city, or from one apartment to another apartment, or from one state to another state. What should I do? There are a couple of things you can do. Number one, if your case number is very, very small case number, like you're about to get the interview, don't change anything, because they might delay anything else. Because in the end, it's not a big deal. But if you have to receive the second notification, you can ask them to change, to put the updated address where you'll be able to stay. But for instance, when I arrived here in Kansas, I lived in the state of Kansas. So Kansas and Missouri, they are just a state, they are bordering here. So I lived on this side of Kansas, and then when I bought the house, I lived in the Missouri side, on this side, but I work still in the downtown in the same area. So my nephew had the address of Kansas. We didn't change the address. So when he went to the interview, gave the address of the Kansas. And when he was coming to press here, there is no problem. You know, another person is Carla, and his wife and his daughter. When they came, they were planning to go to another state in Georgia. But later they changed, they are coming to here. So they didn't change the address. When you arrive in there, they don't care. You are coming here, you are coming to a legitimate person. That is not a problem. So you can change the address or not change the address. There is no problem with that. And again, remember, the address where you put there is supposed to be a residential address, the address of a person staying there, not the address of the post PO box, not the address of the church. No, because that address is the address where they will send the actual card, the actual green card will be sent to that particular address. And the other question I might ask you, what are you planning to do while you are in America? So in the DS-260, they ask that question. You can say, I'm going to do in agriculture, I'm going to be doing education, I can be doing banking, whatever it is. The purpose of the question is not to say that if I said I want to go and become a lawyer and I change my mind, they're going to deny you. No. That is just to see how optimistic you are. What is your contribution to the country? That is the overall. They're not going to be specific dealing with one question. This is the meaning of the question. No. Because you cannot say I'm coming to do the jobs which are criminal related jobs. That is the point. And you already have answered on the DS-260, I will not practice this one, I will not practice this one, the things which are illegal. So you do things which are legal. That's all. So the interview for the interview itself will be between 2 to 5 minutes. If you have children, the interview, or you are married, the interview can go a little bit further, can go to 7 minutes. But there is no interview can go even 10 minutes. No. So the interview will be a very small, short interview. 5 minutes. So you need to have everything ready, all the documents ready. Submit the documents first from the first window. Then the second window, when they call for the interview, they have all your documents. So when they ask you, where do you work? Oh, you know, no, just go straight. This is the list of the jobs I've been able to work, kind of that. Where do you go to stay? I'm going to stay on this estate. So those are the few things you need to understand when it comes to the job. I mean, when it comes to overall the interview related thing. So I believe you have been able to get these kind of questions. Let me go ahead and put some of these one here as the key points. People should notice them so that it can be easier for you to understand. Okay, I'll be able to put them here. There is the key points which I've been able to put them. So make sure that you understand clearly what are the difference between immigrant visas, non-immigrant visas, what type of questions you'll be able to be asked. So those are the few things I wanted to point out. If you look on the board here on the comment, I posted one of the things that there is a big difference between non-immigrant visas, which are temporary visas, and immigrant visas, which are permanent residency status. Questions will not focus if you'll be able to go back to your home country, because you are coming here as immigrant. Since you are coming here as immigrant, you are coming here to stay on the permanent basis. So that is something you needed to understand. The purpose of this type of visas, you are coming here to stay on the permanent basis. Another thing which I've been able to mention, if I can highlight before I go ahead and start responding to people's questions, because I'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and answer some of the question. Another point which I've been able to put it here is the consular will confirm your identity to find if you are the one who has won the DV lottery. And in that case, they look at the passport you use it to apply for the DV lottery and the passport which you are going to use in the DS260, or the passport you are using on the day of the visa interview. It's supposed to match. And in case your passport has been stolen or you have lost the passport, you must go with that passport, which if it's stolen, you have to come with a police record information that your passport is stolen. Without that, your identity is going to be in question. So that is something else you need to know when you are going to apply, you are appearing on the interview. Another point which I wanted to highlight, and I'm going to put again here on the board, is this one. A consular officer will revisit your DV lottery application and match the information of the DV lottery application to the information of the DS260. And on that way, they look the two aspects. They look if you are married, the marital status, and work and the marital status, as well as the information about children, to make sure that you said you are not married and you are not married. Or if you are married now, make sure that you are married post application of the DV lottery. Because if you look on the instruction number 14 and 15 of the DV lottery, they show for sure you'll be able to be denied. If you lied that you are not married while you are married, you'll be denied your visa. Another point, if I might go and point out, that the consular officer will determine if you meet education and or work experience. So if you have bachelor degree, you have high school, you have masters, you have PhD, go with all your documentation, you have diploma, whatever it is, go with the actual documents to prove that this is my transcript, this is my certificate I have to prove that I have this kind of education and this type of kind of. And in the work experience, if you have been given a award, a certificate, you are the best employee of the month, you have been given any award, just go with all the documentation. You never know what will happen. Those documents will be very important for you to support that. Okay, you have a training, you have attended certain type of conferences, all those kind of things. Another aspect I mentioned about is the medical. I wanted to highlight these are very, very important. They are not going to discriminate you because of the medical conditions you have. But if you have the tuberculosis, you will not be allowed to come because the tuberculosis TB has already been interviewed, has been already, has been eradicated here. How long it takes to the interview? So on the day of the interview, there is a question here. Muhammad is asking question. How long it takes to come to US after the interview? The interview today, they'll give you maybe 1 to 2 weeks to be given the actual passport with the visa. The day you are given the passport with your visa, you are allowed to travel from that day or any day within the next 6 months. If you don't travel within the next 6 months, your visa is going to expire. That means you don't have green card anymore. So you can travel on the same day, you can travel the next week, the week after, but you have 6 months duration to travel to come to America. One important thing before I go to more questions is about the public charge. I already made a video and explained that since last year they are not requiring the public charge. Last year when they had the court decision, there is no filling of the public charge form. So don't start getting stressed out about the public charge document in the what in the application. You don't need to have that one. But they might ask you to prove that you'll be having the health insurance upon arriving in America. So those are the very important things to be able to understand. So I'm going through now some of the questions. Abdulaziz, you are saying, if I was wrong with my date birth, how will it be? I don't know what you say by wrong. Your birth certificate and the passport must have the same date of birth. If it is different, passport is different, make sure get the new passport with the exactly date of birth, like in the birth certificate. Because if they don't match, these are two different people. Okay, another question is from Z. Is the state you first land in is the one you get your permanent residence, or if you change, you are considered as resident of the first you landed in America, whatever. So the point is, when you arrive here in America as the V lottery winner, you can arrive today here and tomorrow go to another state. There is no requirement that the state you land is the state you must live there for a certain time. No. You can move to any state every month you want. They don't care. But there is one thing you need to know. That if you are green card holder, whether it's for green card lottery, whether you are green card DV, you are just a minute. If you are green card holder, whether you are green card holder by any other way, by law you have to be able to change you have to be able to change the address wherever you move. So the actual card, they will send it to the address which you put in the DS260. So if you move, ask that person to send it to you, that passport, that card when you arrive there. So that card is just a card which you can live in any state. Just a minute, someone is knocking the door. Okay, my apologies. Sorry. Okay, I'm about to end this one because my daughter came to knock the door. She's sick, so I have to go to take care of her. She has been sick yesterday, throwing up and everything. So I have to go and help her with food. Let me ask. Okay, there is something. Someone is asking. Her high school diploma and my passport are not on the same date. Is that a problem? Make sure if there is anything like that, if there is any change, just go to a lawyer. Write any documentation that there is a mistake on the passport. I mean, on the school certificate. Maybe the date is wrong, but this is the same person. Go and get a lawyer to write official legal affidavit, just in case. Do you send a medical certificate to the embassy? Give me full deal. You don't send a medical certificate. The medical doctor will give you an envelope, big envelope with your results sealed. Don't open that envelope. They will tell you take that envelope to the embassy on the day of the interview. So you don't open that envelope. So there is no medical certificate. They give is the results of your blood work and everything. So there is no about thing of that nature. Okay, if you look on my screen, there is EBM scholars sign here, and there is EBM signature, whatever here. I mean EBM Swahili. So for those who do not know, I post here because EBM Swahili is my other channel. Is a channel which is for Swahili. So for those who speak Swahili, please do a favor and go and subscribe to my YouTube channel of EBM Swahili. So this is EBM Swahili, is a Swahili channel. So do so before I leave. Go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. This is my alternative channel, but only for Swahili. So I'm going to end in a minute, as I said, because my daughter is sick. Yeah, and okay, what about those countries which is in the travel ban, like South Africa? You'll get. Are you going to get idea of second notification for the interview? You'll be interviewed. There's no problem. But it's not just from South Africa. Even let's say I'm Tanzanian. If I travel with a South African airline to go to South Africa and then come to America, I will not be allowed to come to America. So if you are a citizen of South Africa, you'll be interviewed, but you cannot fly directly from South Africa to US. You have to get from South Africa. Let's say you go to Zambia and stay for 14 days, go to another, then you come to America. Don't come directly through the countries which are on the medical restrictions. So I have to leave, my friends. I have to go to help my daughter. Okay, for those, again, this is another, for those first of all who are live right now, they haven't subscribed to my normal, this channel, YouTube Scholars channel, please do so. For those who speak Swahili, please go ahead and subscribe to Swahili YouTube channel. That will be able to do that. So thank you so much, each and everyone who has been here. And I'll go through these kind of questions. And if I'll go ahead and make a video on some of these one, I'll be able to make some of this video. Like Muhammad, you asking, when you come to the US, how long does it take you to get the card after paying? Just like 4 to 6 weeks. But your life doesn't depend on the card. The visa itself you have, you can get social security and you can start working without the card. So it's not a big deal that if you don't have the card. So thank you everyone. Let me end up here and see you another time. I will make a video with the important questions about this one. Goodbye. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel.